Hey all, if you haven't heard about dark matter is this new limited resource that can be obtained from various events as well as disenchanting gear. Dark matter is essential in order to upgrade your artifacts, upgrade those PvE abyss pieces so that you can roll a third perk on them using a matrix of some sort. As well as the daily prismatic seal, and with those combinations along with dark matter, you'll be able to get your abyss piece for relatively cheap. This is a resource that has to be obtained from various kind of quest and or event bosses, and I wanted to go through those to get today. If you're a solo player, a dark matter is not very easily obtainable for you. You should probably look to disenchant legendary gear. You'll have a chance of getting it every time you disenchant a piece. This will give you about 1 to 2 dark matter, depending if it's below level 650 or above level 650, or it might be above level 675. Like either way, a higher level pieces will give more dark matter, lower level pieces will give less dark matter. In terms of the best way to obtain dark matter in the game, this is by completing the raid that was added to New World recently but doesn't actually drop this items anymore. So although the raid isn't dropping anything particularly useful for you, the dark matter itself from the raid will be along the lines of 320 per week and 80 per day. These do stacks, that is 400 dark matter, and then the boss itself also drops an additional 20, so yeah, you get the 420, you get the funny number there for the dark matter, as well as you have a chance for some drops, I guess. Just they aren't ever going to be useful because they're 625 and not 700 gear score. So that's one source of dark matter. This is the best source of it. If you haven't done the raid before, it's very bow intensive. Like you need a lot of bows. It's not very healer intensive, and it's all about stacking unique effects to the boss in order to bring it down. It's not very easy to do from a solo standpoint, but if you have to group together, it's not terribly difficult compared to other games, but it is challenging nonetheless. You don't have access to Banes or Wards anymore, so the raid itself did kind of get buffed, but the poison effects are now affected by weekend, so it's like it's overall in a similar spot to where it was before, but I don't think you'll get one shot nearly as much as you did before. In terms of another source of dark matter, it's kind of difficult to find. If you find raffle bones, he'll give you 20 dark matter, so that's like a decent way to do it. I'd say OPR is probably more consistent than this. If you win an OPR, you'll get like 16 dark matter. If you lose an OPR, you'll get like 4. That's not super great, but it's something, and that's like the only source of PvP content for dark matter unless you go through your PvP track and you happen to find it on your second reward track, which seems to be more rare than it used to be on the PTR. There's also the events. The events will give you 10 dark matter for per completion for an event at a max of 3 per day. So you can get from that an additional 30 dark matter every single day anytime there's an event going on. There's not an event going on right now, but there will be a Halloween event soon. There will probably be a boss that drops from that. There'll be some spoil crate from that, and then from there you can get some dark matter for that. And the other really good way to get dark matter is by doing mutations. Mutations range from like 8 dark matter to 40 dark matter, depending on the mode and the difficulty. Also, if you do higher end modes, you're more likely to get gold drops. Those gold drops you could salvage for dark matter. So it just turns out that M3 is like one of the best and most consistent spots to get dark matter, since you can run 35 mutation level 3s per week. That being said, mutation level 3s are very, very difficult to do from a pug perspective. From personal experience of doing like roughly 20-ish pugs so far of like M1 through M3. I wouldn't go past M2 with a pug personally unless you really knew the people and you trusted them, because the gap between M2 and M3 is very, very large. The builds that are best in slot differ a lot, and overall M3 is more about putting out raw damage than it is about debuffing the boss, and you will just get one shot in M3 if you're not careful, because there's not easy ways to prevent bosses from doing as much damage anymore. That being said, from an M1, if you were to speedrun M1s, this is a good way to just get it done per week. For Tempest, for example, this week I'm able to speedrun M1s with my group and do these in about 16 to 20 minutes roughly, depending on how fast you are. And a gold from an M1 will be 24 dark matter, which is a good amount. If you get a bronze from it, it'll be 8, so it's important to try to get those golds. In terms of an M2, this gets doubled from the low end, so you go from 8 to 16. You go from 24 to 32. See how you're adding 8 here, and it's going to follow the same trend for M3, where your low end is 24 and your high end is 40. So you'll get a decent amount of dark matter from M3s. They're spammable. If you get to the point where you're doing these, you're not really going to have to worry about dark matter as much. But the other big thing that comes with this is you're going to be able to get a lot of gold gear pieces, salvage those gold gear pieces, and from there you'll be able to obtain your dark matter. Another kind of tricky way to do it is there's like repeatable quests. So like the Tempest repeatable quest, this is the one-time quest that gives 8 to 24 or 8 to 16. There's a repeatable version of this that you can get that will give you 2 Dark Matter every single time, so that kind of stacks up. It's not super great, but it's something. There's also like the limited time events, and those give small, or not limited time, but like you fight Siren's Queen, for example, that will give you a small amount of dark matter, but it's along the lines of the same scaling from an event standpoint. We're not going to get a lot of dark matter from it, but you'll get something. So those are noteworthy as well. And overall, there's a decent amount of like other spots for dark matter, but I just don't think they're as efficient. To be honest, if you're looking to get dark matter, your number one way to be able to get this quickly will be doing the raid. It seems like most people should be trying to do the raid once per week and trying to get a group together to obtain this 320 dark matter bonus. This 80 bonus I don't think is as necessary, but as long as you can do the raid once a week, you'll obtain an extra 420 dark matter, which will really allow you to progress your character a lot faster because it costs 500 dark matter to upgrade every single artifact, and people have a lot of artifacts right now to upgrade, so you're going to need that dark matter. uh, and in terms of upgrading those regular gear pieces, it's going to be costing 250, so it's very important for those two. And overall, you kind of have to stay on that grind in order to keep your dark matter and be able to grind those out. So nothing too crazy here in terms of secret spots other than the raid. So if you want to obtain dark matter and want to take something away from this video, just try to get the raid done, and you'll get your dark matter for the week, and you'll be happy. Just it's very hard to pug the raid. It's not something that's easily puggable. So if you're a newer player, to be honest, you're probably not going to be able to do this method like unless you're in a company, and your company might be able to do it over time. It's relatively easy right now because this is 625 gear score. You should be at 700-ish by now, so you should be able to do that. But if you can't do that, then I would start doing mutations because that's the next best way to do it. Otherwise, events are okay, and just doing regular like OPRs, you'll get some dark matter from those as well. With that being said, let me know if you guys have any questions. I'll see you in the next video.